Hi everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight, hosted by Sara J Crawford and Christian. We will get Christian on the line very shortly, but I just want to welcome everyone to Etheric Force Radio. Tonight we are going to be talking about a wide range of different topics, guys. So, over the next hour, we're going to be really digging into a few different things that are kind of floating around on the internet, and some controversial topics and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're just going to be laid back and do our thing like we always do every week. So I'd like to thank our sponsors. We have the Canadian Blood Services, which is our number one sponsor. If you guys want to book an appointment to go and donate blood, you can do that by going to blood.ca, or you can call them on their 1-888-2-DONATE. It's a 1-800 number that is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People will take your calls even at 2 in the morning, guys. So book yourself an appointment, get in there and donate some blood. There's lots of people that are depending on that to live, and, car accident victims, and, people who are receiving different types of treatments and stuff like that. There's a ton of people that, need that blood to survive, guys. So keep that in mind. And, there's a lot of easy ways to go about doing the booking. So it makes it pretty convenient for everyone. But with that being said, let's get the show started. I'm going to call Christian here and get him on the line and, get these topics rolling, because there's a few things that I really want to dig into and really kind of elaborate on, because there's a ton of different topics that are really kind of bugging my brain. So we'll get Christian on the line here. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Christian. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. We are on air live here. So we're on the show. We are in the spotlight, and we are digging into some great topics tonight, eh?
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spotlight with your hosts, Sara J and, of course, Christian.
Woo, woo. You know what? To be honest, I'm loving the fact that you're, in the show now. To be honest, it really adds some personality and some flow to it. So second week now, guys. Christian will be here to stay, and he's a keeper. So he's going to be joining us every week now. So get used to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
So one of the big things I really wanted to kind of dig into here was there's a whole lot of angry people over Ontario that are really, really upset about these hydro costs. Now, there was...
Do you blame them?
Right, though? No, that's my thing, right? Like, my grandfather, he's a retired 71-year-old man, and, he's a widowed retiree, and he doesn't get a whole lot of money. And his hydro bills were roughly, I think, like $120 every 2 months he was billed. Now he's getting like, $500 to $600 bills every 2 months, and it's just like $300 a month is a little much for a single person, And
because he's on a fixed income, that's almost, all of his income coming in.
Yeah, and like even my fiance's parents, like they own a bigger house, and they've got, his sister is an adult and she lives there, and they rent a spot in the basement, and, there's his mom and his dad and stuff. So there's 4 people in the household, but they got a $2,000 bill, which is insane. Mind you, they have a large house, but at no rate should anybody be getting a $2,000 bill.
No, it shouldn't come down to that. So your mortgage payment is lower than your hydro bill.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, mortgages are kind of, I'm in property investment, so I'm kind of up to date on all of the mortgage raises and house costs and all of that stuff that's going on right now. But even right now with the homes and all of that and an all-time, selling high, like, there's nothing in comparison with those hydro costs. Like, this lady, I don't know if you've seen the video there floating around online. I think he was doing a presentation somewhere. I don't know where it was exactly.
Talking to our good Prime Minister, and explain to him how she's working 75 hours a week, 15 hours a day. She's disabled, and she's still working because she has to, because she has $1,000 bills.
Exactly.
For hydro.
Well, and one of the things that really, really got to me was the fact that she said that, after paying her mortgage and now her hydro, she's got like $65 left for 2 weeks. Like, that's insane. 2 weeks for
groceries for 4 people.
Yeah, and impossible. Like, she's got 4 kids, and the fact that she's working 15 hours a day some days, that's a little much for a woman who is kind of in her older ages and, should be almost getting ready to relax at this point, not overworking herself.
She's also disabled.
Right. And that makes it a lot more difficult too, right? Like she should be kind of being compensated and lowering her hours now. And, it's the way it's supposed to go when you get older. But I see a lot of people working, like I was at, Arby's not long ago with my grandfather, and there was a lady in there she had to have been 75. And she's in there, she's in management, but she's still in a burger joint trying to clearly pay her bills.
Because she has to. The people say, "Oh, we're going to retire 65." You can't no longer retire 65. With inflation and the way our economy is, they wonder why that there's no jobs for the younger people coming out of school.
Yeah.
Because all the jobs are still there from everyone else.
Right.
The baby boomers are still working when they should have been retired.
Well, and I find a lot of places like
your greeters are seniors.
Yeah, no, it's true. I see it all the time. And the one big thing that really stands out to me is these people, they should be vacationing in, Cuba.
Enjoying their life. I know this may sound bad, but they got to enjoy themselves now. They got one foot in the grave already.
Exactly. And you know what? It's the truth, right? Because, obviously we all age and, we all work till a certain point and are kind of in our heads, it's like a rat race. I always say we're put to work for so many years and we're promised a break, right? And 90% of these people, even companies going out of business, how many people have lost out on pensions and retirement stuff, and you can't claim to nowhere because these places have gone bankrupt. So it's like
that God rest his soul, but my dad, same thing. One of his old company that he used to work for, he worked for 20 years there.
Yeah. And
it was an American company. They went belly up, and he lost everything.
That's terrible.
He can't claim that for when once he retired, he wasn't able to claim it.
That is absolutely terrible.
So his retirement fund was very little, because of the lack of years working for another company.
Right. Yeah, because
he lost 20 years of employment towards his pension.
Well, yeah, because we're all drilled into our heads. We've all got these parents who tell us, you go to school, you go get an education, you get a job, and you work, and when you're told that these things are put in place, your taxes you can claim at the end of the year, and you're putting so much into retirement pension plans and disability or an EI and all of that, and then the company goes out of business, you're kind of screwed. You're like, I've stored away like a pack rat for how many years and I don't even get to see it, right?
That's what I always tell everybody and tell my clients, look out for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't worry what the company's going to give you, because you never know when you're going to get that pink slip.
Yeah.
You never know when something's going to happen. Take care of your own self first.
Yeah.
So guys, everybody, have your plan.
Well, that's
the thing. If you're
not
sure, if you don't know what's going on, ask a financial advisor.
Yeah. Well, I just recently did that. I'm 24. I've got 3 kids. I'm trying to plan for a future and really, make sure my kids, if anything happens to me, that they're set, right? Because you never know. Exactly. Life is not promised nowadays. I could walk out, knock on wood, God forbid, but I could walk out and get hit by a bus, and then my kids they're left with nothing.
I tell everybody, I work in the financial industry. Please always have yourself protected.
Yeah.
Have yourself covered.
Well, I recently just got an insurance plan, universal insurance actually. And, it kind of... We'll talk after the show. I don't like the sound of that. Okay, but
so before we continue, anybody listening, stay away from universal insurance plans. They are the worst products available.
Okay.
Stay away from bank plans.
Okay.
Because bank plans are only good for the bank products. They can only offer you, for example, if you go to a TD bank, they can only offer you TD products.
Yeah.
They can't offer you anything else but TD products. So
interesting.
If you someone like me, who's you can basically say a broker. I can get TD, I can get RBC, I can get Mackenzie, anything you want. I can get whatever you want that's going to be beneficial for you.
And you know what? That's actually you've got my curiosity here, and do you mind elaborating a little bit here, just in case anybody else out there is listening and going, "Oh crap, what's he talking about? A universal?"
If you read or even look up guys like the Wealthy Barber, all these wealthy people who do speaking in front of people and explain to you how to make money and so forth. Rich Dad Poor Dad, they tell you don't go with universal life plans. You go with term.
Okay.
Universal plans basically. For example, you can say your premium is $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's only $100 a month, and they'll say, okay, and there's a portion of it that is a savings plan.
Right.
So you're getting two birds with one stone.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
With a 10% rate of return.
Yeah, no, that's not what's going to happen.
Okay.
So $50 of this 100 will go towards your premium to pay for your $100,000 premium, for example.
Here, can I give you an example with mine?
Yes.
Okay, so I pay $109. That actually goes to my insurance premium, and then I add an extra $140, which brings it to $250 a month for savings portion.
Okay, and what is the actual your insurance plan? How much is it worth?
The insurance plans I have, I believe it's $500,000 for both of my boys. My daughter, unfortunately, because she's sick, wasn't eligible.
Yeah.
And they've got fracture insurance and then critical illness.
Okay, so we won't go through all the the details of the critical illness and so forth. We'll go to the $500,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we have your $500,000 insurance. You're paying $250 in total a month.
Yes.
Okay, so $250. So a portion of it, basically, this is how it's going to work. They tell you it's one way, but it's really not. So $250. So $125 will go towards your premium, which is for the $500,000.
Right.
The other $125 will go to a cash savings value, which is a savings plan. They're telling you, it's going to save money you can put away savings, that's yours. Now, something would happen. Now, they tell you that, if you ever need the money, you can pull that out because that's your money.
Right.
Correct? Did they explain that to you?
Well, they said after 5 years I would be able to touch it.
Yes, because it takes anywhere from 8 to 10 years to earn your first $200.
Really? See, this
Yeah.
the guy that I got mine from, he had explained that after 5 years I would have somewhere close in between $15,000.
No. You would think, if you do the math correctly, you would think, I should have $15,000 to $20,000.
Right.
No, it takes anywhere from 5 to 10 years to earn your first $200 because it's service fees, administration costs, all those stuff that's in there, that portion.
Well, it's kind of like a mortgage is what I'm kind of getting the gist of here. You pay interest for a certain amount of years.
Now, after a number of years, you have some money saved up in there. For example, say you have $20,000, right?
Yeah.
So are you thinking that $20,000 is yours?
Well, what they'd explained was you could use it for, things like a mortgage, and it was one of the most trusted funds available in a place like that size to, be able to have significant amount of money kind of saved.
Yes, of course. You could pull it out to use it for a renovation, or if you're in financial hardship, you can use that to get you out of it, or put it on a mortgage or something, that kind of stuff. Of course, you can definitely use that for that.
Okay.
However, you got to pay that money back.
What? Really?
It's a loan.
Okay, that was never explained to me.
Yes, it's a loan on your own money.
Are you kidding?
No. So what's going to happen is, say, for example, you have $20,000 in that account.
Right.
That's your savings. After a number of years, you have built up to $20,000. This is hypothetically speaking.
Okay.
You have a $500,000 insurance policy.
Right.
You pull out that $20,000, your policy is now canceled.
Shut up. Pardon my language, everybody listening, but what?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please listen very carefully. Listen to my examples. So you have a $500,000 policy.
Yeah.
You have $20,000 in that cash savings value plan that they say is yours for savings.
Right.
If you pull out 100% of that cash savings, which is the $20,000 you pulled out,
yeah,
your policy is now canceled and void.
Until you pay it back? Or until you start making payments?
Until you start paying again.
That's insane.
Back. Now, you got to leave 10% in there.
So you have to leave something in order for it to be still running. Yeah. So that's insane. Yeah, nobody ever explained that portion of it to me. So
now, it gets worse.
Oh, God.
Yes, it gets worse.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up.
So, you haven't touched that money. I'm sorry. You touched that $20,000, right? Or even 15,000 of it.
Okay.
So you left 5,000 in there, so the policy's still in effect.
Okay.
Now, something will happen to you. Now, put the math together. Something happened to you, so your beneficiaries, whoever it may be, you think would be getting that $500,000 plus whatever's cash in there, which is at this time is $15,000.
Right.
Correct? the policy holder, whoever holds it, whether it be the TD or if it's these other third-party companies, Manulife and Sun Life, for example,
Okay.
they will take that money out first.
And then do what with it?
$15,000, and they'll say, thank you very much. That's for our service fees and administrative costs. And you get the balance. And that'll be taken off the $500.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So they